Hello.
Okay, there we go.
Are we good?
Yeah, we're good. We're good now.
Okay, so I thought the questions that you sent me were very good questions.
Uh-huh.
And the first question was about the differences between English culture and Mexican culture, which is interesting because there are many, many similarities between people in Mexico and people in the UK. But there are also a lot of differences. The first thing is the people. In Mexico, the people are friendlier, they're warmer, they're closer to their families. People in Mexico are very generous. They welcome you into their home and into their family, and even if it's the first time you meet them, they will make you feel very welcome in their house. People in Mexico are more traditional and more religious, I think. And the difference with the people in the UK, people here in England, particularly in London, are colder. They're a bit more independent and they're more liberal, more international. When you walk around London, you see people from all the countries of the world. And that makes the people in England a little bit racist. Because in Mexico, I mean, in Culiacan, if you go to Forum or if you go downtown, all the people you see are from Mexico. Maybe 90% are from Culiacan, maybe 5% is from Sinaloa, and then 5% from somewhere else. But in England, when you go to the shops or if you go to London, maybe 50% of the people that you see are English. And then there's people from Europe, there's people from Africa, people from Asia, and it's a very big mix of races, and it causes some problems. But the good thing in England is that people in the UK are generally more educated than people in Mexico. So, and I don't mean educated as in polite or kind. I mean the level of education is slightly better here. You people are very lucky because you're in an excellent school and your parents can pay for a very, very good education. So you're very fortunate. You have to make the most of that. Okay, that's the people. The next thing is society. When you're talking about English culture and Mexican culture. So in Mexico, crime is a bigger problem. People break the law and there's no punishment, there's no consequence. Politicians can do whatever they want. You know, there's no consequences. And many people don't respect the law. You see this, or I used to see this in my car, driving in Culiacan. And you see the typical buchon, where, you know, there's a red light and the buchon goes, you know, he goes straight through and he doesn't care about the law. And in the UK, it's very different. It's safer. People in the UK are more aggressive, but it's safer in England because there are consequences. The police do their job very well, and politicians have to do the right thing. If they don't do the right thing, they go to jail. You know, what do they call it, Maciel? Is it the fuero?
Correct. Yeah, the fuero for politicians.
When a politician can't go to jail, that doesn't exist here. If you're a politician here and you break the law, al bote, mijo. And also here in society, technology is everywhere. Okay, everywhere you go, there's just technology and things that you do with your phone now. Do you have Apple Pay in Mexico now?
I don't think so. I'm not aware of.
It's amazing. I never have money anymore. I never carry money because I can pay for everything with my phone. And this means also that there are cameras. Everywhere you go, there are cameras looking at you and watching what you do. When you drive your car, there's cameras seeing how fast you go. There's cameras to see if you go through a red light. When you walk down the street, there's cameras. When you get on the bus or on the train, cameras everywhere. So everything you do can come back to you. So you have to do the right thing. So that's society. And the third big difference in culture is in free time. What we do in our free time. In Mexico, in Culiacan, you're so lucky because the weather is so good. I know it's hot, but it's sunny. So you can do more activities outdoors. And things are cheaper in Mexico as well. You know, and to go to the cinema in City Cinemas or Cinépolis, whatever, for a family, if you have 2 children, it costs maybe 300 pesos for the tickets and for some popcorn and drinks. But if you go to the cinema here in England, it costs like 1,000 pesos for 4 people to go to the cinema. It's really, really expensive. Also in Mexico, there are more traditional events. You know, you celebrate your holidays, you celebrate Independence Day and El Día de la Virgen, and you know, all these days throughout the year where you have traditions and festivals. And in England, we don't have so many festivals like that. So in the UK, the weather makes it really difficult to do many activities for half the year. Right now it's okay. It's a bit sunny, but it's cold. It's like 10 degrees outside. So it's difficult to go and do what you want to do. But people here do more exercise. People here are very fit. They go to the gym, they play sport. That's one of the main ways that people have fun in the UK. People are very, very active. They also go to the cinema and the theatre, but it's very expensive. And you can't do it very, very often. So the last thing is alcohol. In Mexico, people drink alcohol and they have a good time and they have fun. Here in England, people drink alcohol, they drink too much, and then they become aggressive and they have a fight, like hooligans. That's still very common. So for me, those are the big differences in culture between Mexico and the UK. Any questions?
Questions. No. 1 or 2 questions. No. Yes.
Okay, moving on. The advantages of being bilingual in the 21st century. It's a good question. Because there are lots of advantages. In Culiacan, lots of people speak English. Okay, it's normal for kids in Mexico to learn English from a very young age. In England, very, very few people speak a foreign language because everybody speaks English. If you go to Spain on holiday, people speak English. If you go to Germany, people speak English there. So English people don't need or don't want to learn foreign languages. So if you do speak a foreign language, it's a big advantage. The biggest advantage is that you can get more jobs. There are more job opportunities if you speak a foreign language. If you go on a website or like to find a job, and if you type in Spanish, there are thousands and thousands of jobs that you can do if you speak Spanish. And right now, I'm working as a translator. That was a job that I used to do in Mexico, and now I'm doing it in England as well. And it's a good job. It's difficult. The money is good, but it can be very boring because sometimes you have to just translate contracts or legal documents, and it's boring. But last week I had to translate and I had to test a video game, which meant that I had to go to this office and sit and play a video game for 4 days. So that can be fun. I think, well, maybe in 10 years when you guys, what grade are you in? Are you in 2nd grade or 3rd grade? Secundaria. Which grade are you in?
7 years.
When you speak perfect English, it's very important that you start learning French or German or Arabic, because in the future, being bilingual is not enough. I think you need 3 languages. You need Spanish, English, and then something else, maybe Chinese or German or Arabic. So the more languages you speak, the bigger the advantage. Questions?
There is one question here.
Okay.
Okay, question, go ahead. Camila?
How many languages do you know?
Well, I speak English, obviously, and Spanish, and my French is okay. I can read French, and I can understand half a conversation, but I can't speak it because I feel very silly when I speak French. I don't like it.
And who else had a question? Ivana, you had a question?
I want to say that Adriana goes to French. Yes?
How's that?
Adriana, she knows French.
Speak French. Yeah, okay, speak French. Salut. Okay, the next one. My experiences in other countries. Okay, I've been very lucky because I've been to lots of countries around the world. First of all, I was born in Ireland.
What?
I was born in Dublin, the capital of Ireland. Then I came to live in England, in London. And when I was young, I traveled around Europe on holiday. You think now, if you go to Guadalajara, or if you go to Monterrey, or to Mexico City, this is the same like going from London to Paris, or London to Barcelona, or London to Berlin. Europe is a smaller place, so you can travel to different countries very, very easily. So I've been to France, and to Spain, and Portugal, and Germany, and Denmark, and Scotland, lots of countries in Europe. Then, when I was 18, I traveled to Saudi Arabia. You know where Saudi Arabia is? Saudi Arabia is in the Middle East. It's in the desert. It's next to Egypt. It's next to Dubai.
Oh.
So I lived there. I lived there for 3 months. That is a very different place. Very different. very different lifestyle, very good people. Then I lived in Spain for nearly 2 years, and then I lived in Mexico for 12 years, in Mero Culiacan. I went to Argentina. That's the furthest that I've been from my home, from Dublin. I went to Buenos Aires when I got married. Okay, so those are the countries that I've been to. And the next question is feelings about being abroad. Now, this is another really good question, because being abroad is, for me, it's the best thing that you can possibly do, because you are totally independent, absolutely independent. You can do whatever you want, and you're responsible for working and for paying the bills and for living. When you live abroad, people are interested in you. In Culiacan, if I was walking in the forum or in the street, sometimes people would say, "Hey, where are you from?" or "What are you doing in Culiacan? Why are you here?" People are interested in you when you're foreign. It's exciting living abroad. It's exciting each day. And also speaking a foreign language, when you speak, when I was speaking Spanish fluently, it makes you a different person. It makes you think in a slightly different way. It's very, very good. The bad things about living abroad, obviously, is that you miss people and friends from home. And major events can make you sad. Like when I was living in Mexico, and there was, the World Cup or the rugby tournament each year, I knew that my friends in England were watching the match together, and I felt like I was missing out. And also you worry a little bit about your family getting sick. You got a question?
No.
No questions?
Hello. I like to
Another section. Okay.
Okay, are we good?
Yes.
So the next question was, why Mexico? And the answer is, I lived in Spain for 1.5 years. I learned Spanish, and I wanted to live in another Spanish-speaking country. The choice was Mexico or Argentina. And I thought, well, Mexico is famous for the beautiful weather, the Pacific Ocean, beautiful beaches, beautiful women, delicious food, tequila, and a real sense of freedom. So when I thought of Mexico, I thought of fun, a very enjoyable, exciting life. So one of the things that attracted me to Mexico was the sort of danger that's in Mexico. It's sort of a dangerous and exciting place. And after being in Europe for so long, that was very interesting. So next is, what do I miss from Mexico? A lot of things, and it makes me sad. I want to go back. More than anything, I miss my friends. In Culiacan, I made very, very good friends, and I'm still in contact with many of my friends, and I hope to see them again soon, because people are really, really very good in Culiacan. The next thing is the weather. I know it's hot, it's too hot in Culiacan, but I prefer that to the cold weather here and the rain. When it rains here in England, it rains for 3 days and it doesn't stop. It's horrible. So I prefer the heat and the weather in Culiacan. What do you think the next thing is?
Taco.
The food. Cool.
Tacos al pastor.
Ah, el pastor no. The carne asada, vampiro.
Oh,
Really good food. I miss tacos. I miss sushi.
Yay.
I miss.
Little Caesar.
Sí. Eso es pizza. Domino's pizza.
Domino's.
El otro.
Domingo.
Domino's Piquingo. La chilita.
You know the cacahuates? Like, that have like a spicy coat on that. They don't have them here in England.
What are things that you need to Mexico?
Chile.
What are things that you need for Mexico?
That I miss? Well, the weather, my friends, the food, and also I miss being a foreigner. I miss being different to everyone. Now I'm back in the UK. It's kind of boring. I feel, you know, this is where I grew up and this is where I lived. So being in Mexico it was fun because you were different to people. Okay?
Good.
Let's carry that. I think they're getting bored.
They're very
No?
shy. They're very shy. That's the thing.
Yay.
It's their first experience in a video conference, so they're a little shy.
Places to visit.
Very excited.
Teacher,
What do you think I'm going to say? Where should you visit in the UK?
did you remember me?
What places can you visit in the UK? What places do you know, guys?
Comida.
One at a time.
Big Ben.
Tell them.
Big clock.
Big Ben. Big Ben.
Big Ben. Yeah, you got to go to London. London is the greatest city on earth. There's more history. You know, the people, the music. You can do everything you want in London if you have the money. It's expensive in London. Okay, there are other good cities as well. In Scotland, there's Edinburgh. Edinburgh is a very, very cool place. It's like London, but it's smaller and the people are friendlier. Next, you've got Liverpool and Manchester and Cambridge. These are all good cities. But the most interesting thing in England for me is a place called Stonehenge. You know what Stonehenge is?
No.
Maciel, do you know?
I do. This historical place.
Yeah, you can show them afterwards. Show them Stonehenge on the on Wikipedia or something, because that is for me that's the coolest thing in England. It's amazing. It's been there for 4,000 years, and nobody knows why it's there. So it's very interesting.
I go to England, it's really beautiful.
Okay, and the last question is what amazing things have I seen traveling? Now, for me, everything about traveling is amazing. You see different things, you see buildings, you see sort of historical places that show you how small you are. Different foods, different customs, it's all fascinating. But for me, the amazing thing about traveling is the people that you meet from all over the world. And you realize that people from every different country, people are so different in small things, but basically people are all the same. People love their families, people want the same things, they work hard, they have their own values. And the amazing thing about traveling for me is making connections with people from all different countries. So you can go to the other side of the world, to a totally different country, to China or to Mongolia or to Sri Lanka, and you can make amazing connections with people from totally different cultures. So for me, that's the most amazing thing about traveling.
I wonder, it's amazing.
Get closer.
Yeah.
Okay, Sebastian, one of the students is going to make a comment. Sebastian,
Go on.
stand up.
Closer,
Get closer, because he doesn't see you.
I'm here. Look at me.
Hi.
Hi. I wonder, it's amazing, it's very beautiful, and the thing I didn't like is the tacos. There are not the same like here.
Where did you go? To England?
It's beautiful.
Yeah, people, there's no Mexican food in England. It's horrible. They
I
get,
found
yeah, it's all horrible, and the salsa, it's not the same. It's wrong.
I know.
Get closer, get closer.
Anyone else been to London? Yeah.
Can I say you something?
Yeah.
I think that you're very lucky from go many countries, and I want it, and I wanna visit many countries like you because it's beautiful. See many people, many cultures, the vegetation of the countries, almost.
Right. I was very lucky when I was young, and then I decided that I wanted to travel a lot. And in fact, when I came to Mexico, my plan was 1 year in Mexico, and then 1 year in Argentina, and 1 year in Peru, and 1 year in China, and 1 year in Russia, and travel maybe for 10 years. But in Culiacan, I met a beautiful woman, and I married her, and I stayed in Culiacan for 12 years.
Yeah.
But you should definitely travel. The secret is to find something that you can enjoy, to find a job that you enjoy and that you can do in different countries. Maybe it's a job that doesn't pay much money. If you could volunteer, or you could work for a charity. But I really, really recommend you travel as much as you possibly can.
Okay.
Yeah, blue T-shirt.
Yes, Abby, and then David. Abby, you had a question first.
That all the places that visit what is the more funny places?
Which is the most what?
Funny.
The most fun is Culiacan. Crazy, but I feel for me, Culiacan was a great place to live. It's not perfect. There are problems in Culiacan, but the lifestyle, the weather, the people, the food. I was really happy in Culiacan, much happier than I am now. So I want to go back to Culiacan, and next year I think I'm going back.
Okay, David.
Do you go to the Manchester United Stadium?
I know.
I've been. When I was a boy, I went to Manchester United, but now I'm a Chelsea fan.
Okay, Camila.
Real Madrid or Barcelona?
Jeremy, do you remember?
What other countries would you like to visit?
Good question. I would like to visit Japan. I'd like to go to Tokyo.
Me too.
I'd like to go to Russia, and maybe Chile. I'd like to go there. Those three countries. But the most interesting one is Tokyo, because it's such a big city and there's so much technology. Good question, Camila.
Eduardo,
Eh?
you have a question?
Yeah.
Madrid or Barcelona?
How's that?
Real Madrid or Barcelona?
Real. I lived in Barcelona for nearly 2 years. And in that time, Chelsea and Barcelona played like 8 times in the Champions League. So I hate Barcelona. I hate Messi. I prefer Real Madrid.
More questions? More questions?
You like basket?
I like rugby. You got to watch rugby.
Oh,
Okay.
Any more questions?
Do you like the models?
He doesn't see you.
Do I like what?
I'm here. I'm here. Do you like baseball?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I used to love the Tomateros. The actual game, baseball is it's okay, but going to the Ángel Flores was always good. I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Okay, Valeria?
Do you see or like Mexican channels or telenovelas?
No, I used to watch. I sometimes on YouTube. I watch like La Rosa de Guadalupe. Just because it's funny. It's so bad. I don't.
Okay. That's true. Another question, teacher.
Go up.
Do you work in Utah?
Did I work in Jutam?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I used to work there.
Me too. You remember me?
Did I teach you?
Yes.
How many? For how long? Like once or twice or?
You have daughters in Jean-Piaget.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Well, no, actually, my daughters now are in Newman.
Yes.
you like
it, Chavo del Ocho? Jean-Piaget? Newman? What are the more amazing places that don't are
In Mexico, the most amazing places that I visited, I guess, what did I really like in Mexico? I liked Puebla, Michoacán. I went to Michoacán, but it was very dangerous. And I think Guadalajara. Not Monterrey. I thought the people in Monterrey were very different, very special. So I think actually the best place is probably Mazatlan. Best beaches.
Do you like Chavo del Ocho?
David,
It's beautiful.
question.
Hey, question.
When you will come here in Culiacán?
Yeah, next year. Like next summer, I'll be there. I had to stay here now to work, but next year I'm going back to Culiacán.
Okay. And you will come here, Newman?
Maybe I'd like to.
You will work here?
Yeah, I'll talk to to Nereida and Miss Patty, but I would like to. I'd like to work with Maciel again. Maciel's a great teacher.
Thank you.
Chavo del Ocho.
Julio, get closer. Acércate, Julio.
Do you like Chavo del Ocho?
Yeah, my kids watch.
Okay, Luis.
Do you like Marvel?
Well, like what?
Marvel, do you like it? Marvel.
Marvel.
What's that?
Marvel. Superhero.
Infinity Wars is coming soon, and Thor. Yeah, I'm excited. I love those films.
Okay, so do you have a question? No? Any more questions? Okay,
Batman or Superman?
Superman.
okay. Javi?
Batman is better.
Javi?
What like more of Mexico? The mountains, the rivers, the other things. What?
Yeah.
Get closer.
The girl is of
You don't hear you.
that what like more of Culiacan, of Mexico, the mountains, the rivers, the tree, or what?
It's difficult. Michoacán. Driving through the country, you see amazing scenery. But for me, the best is the beach. The beaches on the Pacific are beautiful. Miss Patty! Hola!
Hi, teacher Ryan.
Hi, Miss Patty, how are you?
Fine, thank you. And you?
Very good. Very good. Very happy to see you. What else? What other questions?
Como les digo que sus hijas están hermosas. Your daughter, beautiful daughter.
Ahí están. Ahí se las encargan.
¿Qué me dijo?
Can you repeat it?
Se las encargo, dije.
Dice, cuidados con mucho amor, dice. Pero no hablas español, dice. Mejor yo me esfuerzo.
What else? Any other questions?
More questions, guys?
One question.
Okay,
Yeah.
Do you like tacos?
Nadie conoce a ninguna persona que no le gusten los tacos.
Sí, a mi hermano no le gustan los tacos.
Okay, guys, Eduardo, are you going to ask something?
I'm so sorry.
Yeah? So speak correctly.
I'm so sorry.
What's the most farthest farthest city or country that you have visited?
I think farthest from my home is Buenos Aires. And
Okay.
also I went to New Zealand as well. Yeah, probably New Zealand.
New Zealand. Okay. Very good. Anything else? Okay, Camila.
What other language would you like to learn?
I would like to learn Arabic, but it's very, very difficult. They say it's one of the most difficult languages to learn, but that's the reason why I want to learn it. I like it because it's difficult.
Okay. Sorry, you want
I know that you visit many countries, but if you have another opportunity, what did you select from go?
Again, if I had another opportunity,
Japan.
What countries would you select to go?
okay.
Why
Yeah.
would you like?
Maybe Japan, probably Tokyo, and Russia. I'd like to see Moscow and also Siberia. Go somewhere where it's very, very cold. Just to see, live there maybe for 1 month and to see what it's like.
Guys, ask about all the languages you speak.
How much language did you speak?
Okay, Abby has a question. Let's hear Abby. And then second.
What are the countries that like more that don't are Mexico?
How's that?
Your favorite country besides Mexico?
Okay. Difficult. I think Ireland. The people in Ireland are very similar to the people in Mexico, and the lifestyle is very, very similar. They're Catholic people, traditional people, people who like parties and good food. So Ireland and Mexico are two very, very similar countries, and I think Ireland is my second favorite.
And what are your
Second first. Hello? Second first.
What is your favorite music?
My favorite music is old music that you don't know, the Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin.
I hate reggaeton.
Guns N' Roses.
Yeah,
I hate reggaeton.
I play the guitar too. You wanna
Guns N' Roses.
Bad Bunny, Nirvana, Michael Jackson, Maluma, Nirvana, Jeff Barry,
Metallica.
Metallica.
Okay. Final question. No, because we are in time. We're about to finish. We have 2 more questions, Brian. Okay?
One question.
What are the bad things when you go to visit other places or this is a
Why, I didn't hear you.
Get closer.
What are the bad things that you see when you go to many countries?
The people in every country, it doesn't matter about the food or the weather or the landscape or the history. The best thing in any country is the people, because you see the similarities and the differences, and you learn more about yourself when you meet people from different countries.
Check. And one question.
Final question.
Final question. The places that you go, which is the place that you didn't like?
I didn't like.
You didn't like.
I didn't like Michoacan.
Japan?
Yeah, it was too dangerous. I didn't like Austria. Austria is very beautiful, but very boring.
Okay. Thank you. I think we're in time. You got one more question? Okay, we have just one final question. Okay.
What movie do you like?
What, now or like ever?
Yes.
Ever.
My favorite movie is probably
Hey!
or The Hangover. You know that film? ¿Qué pasó ayer?
Yeah,
Número 21.
Okay, and Valeria? Sorry, Valeria and then Joanna. Question.
Okay. If you had the opportunity to born again, where would you like to born and why?
Where? Maybe in maybe I don't know, maybe in Germany, maybe in Japan, somewhere that's very different to where I was born, and probably not Mexico because I know Mexico now. So maybe somewhere very different, maybe Japan.
Okay. Joanna?
What time is now in London?
It's nearly 4 o'clock.
4 p.m.
Very
Santiago, sorry, Santiago.
Do you like your work?
Yeah, it can be boring. But it can be very fun as well. Translating is a good job.
What sport you practice?
Now I don't really play sport much. I go to the gym, but I don't play rugby or football. Sometimes I play squash and tennis, but I'm quite old now, so the gym is enough exercise for me. How old do you think I am?
How old do you think he is? 42 years. 32.
19.
No, I'm 38. I'm quite old.
Okay, Camila, what's your question? Oh, Camila first.
If you have the opportunity to have another job, what job will it be?
That's another good question. If I could have any job, it's kind of a strange answer, but I think I would be a tailor. You know what a tailor is? There are very famous tailors in London. I would like to make suits because they make a lot of money and they produce very beautiful clothes.
That's so interesting.
How much it will be one
Okay,
goal?
Javi.
If you have an opportunity to change your country, what change and why?
If I had an opportunity to what, my country?
To make changes in your country.
Okay, good question. God, that's a really good question. I would change the people slightly. People here are very cold. They don't talk to you very much in the street. They're not very friendly. So this country could be a lot better if the people were a bit more like the people in Mexico. If they were people in Culiacan, the people here could be more friendly for sure. Good question though.
Show your muscles.
Okay, well, thank you, Teacher Brian. We're in time.
Thank you, Justin.
It was great. You were great to have you here today.
Thank you very much for your time, Brian. I heard you all the time. You didn't see me, but I was here. I'm really happy that you gave us this time. Hopefully,
Hey, and
do it once more time.
do you have recreo at the same time as primaria?
They don't.
The same time.
Yeah, it's at a different time. Their breaks are different time.
Okay, not to worry then.
Teacher,
All right, everyone. Thank you very much.
Teacher, bye.